Good Monday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. Hopefully, one has had a fantastic Monday. I am your meteorologist, Jess Peterson, and let's go on and talk about the weather for your Monday evening going into your future. But first, before we get into that, if you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button, make sure you go and do so. We are at 565. Yes, 565 subscribers, trying to get to 600. That is 35 away, and we are only 10 subscribers away from 575, which would be the halfway point. So we have some stuff we're going to talk about tonight. Obviously, the tropics being the main area of concern. Obviously, what Major Hurricane Aaron now is expected, and we'll talk more about that once we get there. And also, we also will be talking about the heavy rainfall that will continue for the most part. And after that, there's nothing else really too much to talk about. I mean, we talked about the warming trend already. So pretty much the only thing we're going to talk about, that daily shower and thunderstorm risk, heavy rainfall in the tropics, and that's pretty much all. So now, as we go on and look at what's going on right now, well, first let's go and talk to the recorded audience because I did not hit record today. Let's go and talk to the recorded audience. Good Monday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. Hopefully, everyone has had a fantastic Monday. I am your meteorologist, Jess Peterson, and let's go on and talk about the weather for your Monday. Starting off, we do have some rainfall right now that's going on throughout the entire state. Again, expected if you were here this morning or if you were here last night, you know that rainfall was expected. And if you go on and look at what's going on all the way up here inside of the upstate, you do have some rainfall up there. Not a whole lot. The Midlands and the Western PD definitely has the majority of the rainfall. Even going down to the Low Country, you have some rainfall, and even inside of the PD, you have some rainfall activity moving through there. Flash flood warning is ongoing over here. That includes Carolina Forest. That includes North Myrtle Beach, Atlantic Beach, Briar Cliff Acres, Hand and Little River inside of South Carolina. As we have a flash flood warning over there, that's for the next 26 minutes. Flood advisory is in effect up there, but it includes the outside areas of Myrtle Beach, Conway, and Long, South Carolina, as again, that's probably going to go away as well in like the next, that actually expires in the next 10 minutes. What's going on throughout the entire U.S.? You do have some rainfall going on in North Carolina with some flooding going on over there. Flooding going on in Georgia, Alabama getting some rainfall, Florida getting some severe weather, Texas and New Mexico getting some severe weather, flooding going on also in Texas and Oklahoma. Storms going on in Missouri, in Illinois, rainfall in Iowa, and then severe weather going on in Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota as well. Over here in the West, though, it's a lot drier than everyone else is right now, maybe excluding the Northeast. What's going on now for our cloud cover? We do, in fact, have cloud cover throughout the entire state. That is not really a shocker to anybody. Not really a shocker to anybody at all that we have cloud cover going on right now. As we've just been in this cloudy pattern, and if we go on to continue to push this forward, I don't know why this is like this right now. But if we continue to push this forward, you can see that cloud cover activity will continue as we move in through tomorrow. So expect that cloud cover to continue. Current temperature 77 in Columbia, as well as 77 in Orangeburg, 78 in Somerville, and 78 in Georgetown, 79 in Murrells Inlet, as well as 77 in Conway, 79 in Myrtle Beach, and 79 also in North Myrtle Beach. We also do have 78 down there just near, or 79, excuse me, down there near Charleston, 76 in Greenwood, 77 inside of Aiken, and then moving up here to the upstate, 75 in Anderson, 74 Greenville, and Spartanburg. For your low temperatures for tonight, 71 in Greenville and Anderson. Greenwood's included in there. Aiken is included in there. 72 degrees for Columbia, going down into Sumter and Florence, 73. For Orangeburg, going down to Walterboro, 74 degrees for Moncks Corner, 75 for Georgetown, 76 for Myrtle Beach, and 77 for Charleston, 70 up there near Rock Hill, 78 in Hilton Head Island. For your precipitation, a good amount of precipitation is expected. 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch goes for Charleston going into Hilton Head Island, so that coastal low country region. Tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch goes for Orangeburg. Walterboro is included. Dillon is included. Shiraz is included. Florence is included. Quarter of an inch to a half an inch also possible for Aiken. Barnwell, Anderson's included. Greenville is included. Sumter is included. And Georgetown is also in there. Half an inch to an inch goes for Kingstree, Columbia, Winnsboro, and Rock Hill. Spartanburg is also included. And then potentially somebody might have that shot to get maybe even an inch or higher, especially up there in the upstate, and obviously where that flash flood warning was ongoing, where all that rainfall that just fell at. So that's what's going on in terms of the total precipitation amount. Always keep this in mind, is that with thunderstorms, especially during the summertime, they can definitely add on to the totals a lot more. So even though you see Shiraz, for example, 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch, Shiraz might get higher totals than that. It just matters on how intense that thunderstorm is, because obviously we cannot forecast the intensity of every single thunderstorm. For the crazy score tonight, we are at a 22 inside the mild category, slightly breezy or cloudy, but no major concerns. And I'm pretty sure that we all just saw why there is a chance for some patchy fog as well, especially in the coastal regions and the saturated areas, especially up there where that flash flood warning was. But it's pretty limited. It is pretty limited, though. The SPC outlook for tonight, you can see that we actually do, in fact, have a thunderstorm risk that is over here again for the entire state. The entire state has a chance for a thunderstorm just as we continue through. I mean, obviously, we still have shower activity that is going on. And if we go on, and if I go on right now and look and see if we have any lightning going on in terms of the probability of it, I'm seeing a little bit over here, maybe near Camden and Winnsboro, but that's only a 5% risk of some lightning over there. So you're not really seeing too much in terms of thunderstorm activity. Now, is it still possible? Yes, it is still possible for somebody to see a thunderstorm, but it's not too high for now. Going into tomorrow, thunderstorm risk is there for the entire state. The entire state has a chance for a thunderstorm again tomorrow, and same thing on Wednesday. Everyone has a chance for a thunderstorm on Wednesday. Now let's go on and look at excessive rainfall. So we're going to start off here on day 1, which goes from tonight into tomorrow morning. You can see that we do have a slight risk of excessive rainfall that goes pretty much stretches all the way from down there near Beaufort, Hilton Head Island, all the way through most of the low country, through towards the PD and Grand Strand region as well. And that is for, you can see that down there in the bottom left corner of your screen, risk of rainfall exceeding flash flood guidance within 25 miles. That is a 15% chance of receiving some flash flooding. So that's scattered flash flooding. If we continue on into tomorrow, which I do want to say also for tonight, is that there also is a marginal risk for the rest of the state as well. But as we go into tomorrow, that slight risk moves up there into the Greenville, Spartanburg area, including Anderson, Clemson's included, going over there towards Gaffney. And that is again for scattered flash flooding, 15% risk of receiving some flash flooding. And then if you're in the green, that's Greenwood, that's over there near Aiken, that's Columbia, that's Florence, that's Orangeburg, that's Myrtle Beach, that's Moncks Corner, that's Georgetown. Those places have an isolated risk of some flash flooding, meaning just isolated flash flooding is possible, and that's only a 5% risk of flash flooding. Day 3, this is for not tomorrow, but for Wednesday. Wednesday going into Thursday morning, that marginal risk again goes up through all of the upstate. Most of the Midlands is included. The PD and Grand Strand is included. Low Country has like that very eastern side. Southern Midlands does not have a risk either. But again, if you're inside the green, that is another isolated chance or isolated flash flooding is possible. Now, this is day 4. The entire state has a chance. This is for Thursday. Thursday, we all have a chance for some isolated flash flooding. And then on Friday, same thing. Everyone has a chance for some isolated flash flooding on Friday. So this will continue. This will 100% continue. And, the drought monitor comes up on Thursday. We'll see what it has to say, especially since we don't have a drought right now. We have abnormally dries up there in the upstate, meaning that it's just a bit dry, but it's not dry enough for a drought. So we'll continue to monitor that. And obviously with most of the rainfall seeming to be down there near Myrtle Beach, in North Myrtle Beach, for example, to where that flash flood warning is, and also down near Folly Beach, where we had a lot of that rainfall at. But that's it for the excessive rainfall I wanted to say there. Let's go on now and look at the models. So we're going to go on and talk about the short term first. Then we're going to get into that long term future. For the people that have been here for a quick minute, you know how we do things. I'm going to move on over here to the 24-hour mark. And I'm going to move over here also for the GFS as well for our future. So for now, you can see that we do in fact have the rainfall going on throughout the state that we were just talking about. Let me push this back over here real quick. Let me go to this one. So this is at 9 p.m. Again, obviously this is what is occurring for the most part right now. It's a bit off, definitely a bit off, but for the most part, you can kind of see the point of what it's trying to show. Once you get to around 11 to 12 a.m., though, tonight, rainfall will be going through that eastern low country, through like Berkeley County, through Charleston County for the most part, through Columbia, and then you have some shower and downpour activity on the western side along that border. As you continue to push that forward all the way to 4 to 5 a.m., rainfall really starts to thin out a lot more, and you only see isolated to potentially scattered shower activity. Even to 7 o'clock in the morning, there still will be some rainfall going on from the upstate into the southern Midlands and then into the Grand Strand region. That will intensify, especially over there near like Myrtle Beach, for example, by around 9, 10 a.m., potentially. And then by 10 a.m., rainfall, again, starts to thin out a lot, but you still have some that is here, that is present. If we continue on all the way through to around 2, 3, 4, 5 p.m., look at this rainfall right here moving through the upstate, moving through the Midlands and the low country, and even like I said, back into that Grand Strand region, to where you have scattered to potentially getting kind of close to that numerous category, but for right now, looking just a lot on the scattered category in terms of shower and thunderstorm activity. By 8 p.m., going into 9 to 10 p.m., look at all the rainfall still going on up there in the upstate. That's why we have that slight risk of excessive rainfall up there, is just because there's going to be a lot of rainfall that moves through there, and it's not going to be as much, obviously, in a lot of other regions. So once we get to around 12 a.m. on August the 13th, again, rainfall still looking isolated to scattered at best. And then we have some more rainfall still moving through the upstate, even as you go through that early morning on August the 13th, which is included in the slight risk of excessive rainfall that we were just talking about. And then by 2 o'clock p.m., or once you go into that afternoon hours on August the 13th, Wednesday, rainfall activity again just seems more on the isolated side. So from what I'm seeing here, it's mainly just showing that rainfall for sure is going to be not too much on the widespread front. It's going to be more on the scattered to potentially regionally numerous category, especially up there for the upstate, but I can see for sure why they have that slight risk up there. So let's go on and talk about the long-term future now. So we're going to move on to here. We're going to start off here where we just ended off at the 48-hour mark. As we push this forward, you can see the active pattern that continues as we go all the way through to around August the 16th through to August the 17th, and you can see by around like August the 18th, you can see that overall the pattern does not really change too much. Yes, we may have a couple of dry patches here and there to where the state might not see too much rainfall. Again, this is the low resolution, so it's obviously not going to be 100% correct, but you're not really seeing too much in terms of a difference in terms of this activity. Now, from all that deluge of rainfall that you can see, that is most likely going to be Major Hurricane Erin, but that moves its way through, and we'll talk more about that, and we'll look at all the different model words and all that kind of stuff, but that's going to move its way out of there. And then rainfall, for us at least, you can see that, it may contribute some rainfall, but at least from this model right here, but it's not really doing too much in terms of added rainfall. Most of the rainfall that we're getting over the state comes in from the west. And then by the time we get to around August the 24th, that is the 300-hour mark, and everything else just looks active through there. So from everything that I grasped from that, or what you should have grasped, is that we're still going to be in this active period all the way through to August. And I know some of the models yesterday that we were looking at showed that it may be a little bit on the quieter side as we get into August, like the late August. But for now, it's looking like that it's still looking a little bit active. And yes, like I said, we'll have some dry patches, but it's going to remain active for the rest of August in terms of this rainfall activity. So that's it for the long-term future. Let's go on now and talk about the tropics, the main reason to why most are concerned about right now. And we have 4 areas right now. We have obviously the main one, tropical storm area right now. It's a 45 mile per hour storm. It states that it is still too early to determine what impacts, if any, Erin may bring to the northern Leeward Islands, Bermuda, or the east coast of the United States as we approach the climatological peak of the hurricane season. It is an opportune time to ensure your preparedness plans are in place. So pretty much, if you don't have your hurricane plans in effect now or in place now, you probably should be doing that now. Again, there obviously is that chance because again, it's still uncertain, so it might go to us, it might go away from us. But again, as I've been saying for like the past 2, 3, 4 days at this point, it's still just too far out to say exactly what is going to happen. So you can look and see that you can pretty much see the cone right here. It is going to stay a tropical storm as we go through the majority of this week, but as you get into around 2 a.m. on Thursday, that's when it will upgrade to that hurricane status. It'll just intensify more and more, but you're going to move through Thursday, it's going to stay a hurricane. You're going to move through Friday, it's going to stay a hurricane. And you start to get some rapid intensification. It will turn into a major hurricane by 2 o'clock p.m. on Saturday. At least what is expected for now. That will adjust more and more. But for now, like I was saying, by 2 p.m. on Saturday, it's expected to become a major hurricane just to the north of the northern Leeward Islands and Puerto Rico. But, in terms of just even further, this is for the next 5 days, so you really can't go any further than this. Let's go on and look at the models for this real quick, and let's look at what it actually looks like right now. So this is what Erin looks like right now. Again, you're not really seeing that huge amount of hurricane or tropical storm in it. It just looks like a big blob with just some surrounding shower and thunderstorm activity, but it is organizing. For sure. And once you get to the global hurricane models as well, you can see most of them kind of taking that curve just to the north of like Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic and Haiti, for example. And then you have a couple of stragglers, like some say it's going to curve early, some say that it's going to curve a little bit later, but that is what is expected for now. If you go into the GFS, this one right here, this is the track right here for kind of like the median. You can see that most of them, the stronger ones, have it going more to the north, and the weaker ones have it going more to the west. And so one thing that I also will say is that the weaker that this tropical storm eventually turning to a hurricane stays, the more of a chance it will have to curving later and giving us more of an impact. So the weaker it is, the more of a chance it would have to potentially impact us here in South Carolina. But the stronger it gets, the more of a chance it will have to curve up into the Atlantic and not impact anybody. So technically, we should all be rooting for it to get stronger faster and not just waiting until it gets closer and closer. But that's it for the GFS. I do want to show the intensity guidance as well, because this one, you can see that for the most part, again, most models have it getting to around Category 3, Category 2-ish, and there's a couple of stragglers that probably will get to Category 4. I have no idea what this model down here at the bottom is doing. But for the most part, Category 1 is the absolute lowest, but definitely probably Category 2 would probably be the lowest, going up to all the way Category 4. Category 5, will it be a Category 5? You need to have a lot of things to go right if you want a Category 5, so for now, Category 4 right now seems to be the max. Category 2 seems to be kind of like the minimum. And then also you can go on and look at this one right here. This is the Euro ensemble thing right here. This is for it right here. You can see that again, pretty much the same thing that we've been looking at. You see that overall we have all of these areas over here. Again, it's curving pretty early. You have some stragglers again that go over towards South Carolina. You have some that goes over towards North Carolina. You have some going down towards Florida, but most of them is going up into the Atlantic and curving before it can do anything. So that obviously is a good thing to see for here for now. But you never can root out any stragglers at all, so this is why you need to be paying attention. Even though most of them seems like, oh yeah, it's going to curve, you still need to be paying attention either way. So you can go in and look at the individual model runs as well. This is the one from the GFS right here. We're going to go to the Western Atlantic. And then we're going to check this out. But there's South Carolina right there at the bottom, or no, at the top part of the screen. As you go in and just push this forward, you can see that the actual storm right there itself, the GFS has this one kind of getting a lot stronger, like a lot quicker. And it gets relatively close, but not close enough to really cause us some very, very bad conditions. But it just gets there too, it just intensifies way too quickly, and it kind of just pushed its way out of there kind of quick. For the Euro, that one shows it a little bit, well, it actually shows it intensifying again a lot quickly as well, very quickly as well, and so that's why, again, it's pushed out of here, and then by that time, it's not going to be a threat to us at all. For the ECAI model, this one right here actually has it intensifying a lot later. So that's the thing that you don't want to see, because you have it intensifying a lot later. Look at how much further west that is than the other one showed. And so that's why we want it to intensify a lot quicker instead of it intensifying later. Just going to be a lot more further west than that. The CMC, this one has it again intensifying later and getting closer and closer, but I have not seen too much in terms of any sort of direct landfall for any of these models yet. Now, will that change? I mean, obviously we had some earlier, but it's not. But with all the ones that I just showed you, again, they are all just one model runs. They're not like an ensemble or anything like that. But we have seen some in the past with them. But that's it for the individual model ones. I don't want to just keep on looking at them and spend 15 hours on them just doing that stuff. So I just wanted to show that real quick. So that's it. I mean, there's nothing else really for me to say for that. I think I pretty much broke that down pretty well. But let's go on now, since we are done talking about Tropical Storm Erin. There's a lot of other regions as well that's out here, not just Erin. You have this one over here, Disturbance 1. This one says, a non-tropical area of low pressure located a few hundred miles southeast of Nova Scotia in Canada is producing disorganized shower and thunderstorm activity to the west of its center. Some limited tropical or subtropical development is possible over the next day or two as the low drifts west near the relatively warm waters of the Gulf. By the middle of this week, the system is expected to move north over cooler waters, ending its chance for further development. So this thing pretty much has to form like now. Or it won't be doing anything. It only has a 10% chance, so I honestly would just throw that one out for now. And it's not going to be any impact for South Carolina. Disturbance 2 is over here. This one has a 0% chance of forming. And it's pretty much just a weak surface trough of low pressure. Development of the system is not expected. So that's just, they just have it there just to have it there, I guess, but this has no threat for forming and definitely not a threat to South Carolina either. And then this one over here, Disturbance 3, has a 0% chance of forming as well. A surface trough in the north central Gulf is associated with a broad area of disorganized shower and thunderstorm activity. While development of the system is not anticipated before it moves inland, locally heavy rainfall could produce flash flooding across Florida, southern Alabama, and southern Mississippi and southeastern Louisiana over the next day or so. So again, I mean, these ones out here, you're not really looking too much for those. Again, Erin is the main one right now. So that's it for the tropics and pretty much all that I wanted to say there. So let's go on and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off first with Mr. Chris, who said, "Good evening, everyone. Hope you're doing well. I am doing well. Thank you so much for asking." Ms. Tolliver says, "Good evening. A soggy, muggy day here at my house. The geese were basking in the slush, and so were the gnats and bugs. This hurricane threat has me concerned. Should I be?" Again, I don't know if I'd pull out the C word yet for concerned. I don't know if I'd pull out the C word yet. Is it something to watch for 100%? But I think if we see this thing start to go a lot more west, then I think the concerning outlook probably should go up a little bit. So, but for now, no reason to be concerned yet. Now, if you want to be like, I'm talking about like concerned like in like a scared way, obviously no, but concerned in sort of like a prepared way, yes, I would say that. So obviously be prepared for the worst. Should you be scared? Absolutely not. My Nana says, "Hello, Jay. In spite of the rain, I had a good day. I hope your day was great as well." It was. Thank you so much for asking. Hello to you. Mr. Chris says, "Hope everyone stays safe. It's getting ready to turn hot again." It sure is. It sure is getting ready to turn hot again later this week in about like the next couple of days. My Aunt Lula then says, "Good evening, everyone. Nephew, I pray all is well in the tropics tonight." For tonight, nobody's getting impacted too much. I mean, yes, you do have some rainfall going on, but nothing too terrible right now. Ms. Oliver says, "Surely the drought is over for now. Guess we'll find out on Thursday." Yes, we will find out on Thursday. The drought is over. There is no longer any sort of drought, but there is still some dry areas that need some rainfall. Mr. Anthony says, "Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you." Ms. Oliver says, "Downtown Charleston has some flooding today." There was. I know they had some earlier today. I believe there was a flash flood warning for downtown Charleston earlier this morning. So there was, and then there also was a storm that moved through a 50-mile-per-hour wind gust that moved through the Tri-County region, Dorchester, Berkeley, Charleston County as well. That says, "Good evening, Joseph and friends. I trust everyone had a fantastic Monday. Another hot day in San Antonio, still around 100 degrees. Thank you so much for the weather update, and all is well." Mr. Griston said, I'm getting scared about the storm out there, and I lived through Hurricane Hugo, and I don't want to go through another one like that again." No reason to be scared. No reason to be scared. There's a good chance that it could go up, but you always have to prepare for the worst, and you just prepare like it's going straight for you, just so that you are over-prepared, because you always want to be over-prepared for stuff like that. And if you ever need to evacuate, they would always give evacuation orders out, so you would know before. That says, "One good thing is I got a chance to break in my pizza oven, and the pizzas were delicious. Maybe the ambient temperature helped a bit." Well, that's a great thing. Great thing that you got to break out your pizza oven. Trildon says, "I just had a long day, not in a happy mood." Well, I am so sorry to hear that. Hello to you. Hopefully tomorrow will be better. And that's it for the audience for tonight. So let's go on now, since we're done talking with the audience, talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. Now, what are those 4 locations? That being San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Duncan, Oklahoma. Why do we talk about these locations, you ask? Well, it's because we have people inside of those areas that are tuning in. Starting off with San Antonio first, with low temperatures tonight 77, high temperatures tomorrow at 99, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 78. No precipitation is expected. That's unfortunate, because you definitely do need the rainfall a lot. But unfortunately, no precipitation is expected. And then in terms of severe weather, no severe weather is expected, so that is a good thing. And then in terms of excessive rainfall, more good news. No excessive rainfall is expected for tonight or tomorrow, but on, I believe this is Wednesday. Okay, that's Tuesday, that's Wednesday. Wednesday morning going into Thursday, you do have a minor risk for some flooding, so some isolated flash flooding is possible on Wednesday. And then after that, that's it for you. Up here for Raleigh, low temperatures tonight, 72. High temperatures tomorrow at 86. And low temperatures tomorrow night at 73. Chance of thunderstorms tonight and tomorrow night, but heavy rain is expected tomorrow. There is a chance for some isolated flash flooding for the next 5 days, just in general. Tonight, tomorrow, for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Isolated flash flooding is possible for all of those days. In terms of severe weather, there is indeed no threat for any sort of severe weather. Philadelphia being the third one with low temperatures tonight 68, high temperatures tomorrow at 91, and low temperatures tomorrow night at 73. No precipitation is expected, but patchy fog is possible tonight and tomorrow. Again, no severe weather is expected. You do have a chance for some excessive rainfall on, I believe this is Wednesday. Again, isolated flash flooding is possible. And then the final location being Duncan, Oklahoma, with low temperatures tonight 70, high temperatures tomorrow at 90, and low temperatures tomorrow night at 71. Chance of thunderstorms tonight, slight chance of thunderstorms tomorrow during the day, and a chance of thunderstorms tomorrow night. There is a slight risk of excessive rainfall for tonight. That's for scattered flash flooding, as rainfall rates from 3 inches of rainfall per hour, potentially up to 5 inches. Well, not of per hour probably, but 3 inches of rainfall all the way up to 5 inches of rainfall in a short period of time is expected as you move throughout Duncan as well. So, in pretty much most of Oklahoma. So that's one thing you do have to watch out for tomorrow. Isolated flash flooding is also possible there. And then for severe weather, there is a chance for severe weather tonight. It's just for some damaging winds and some isolated large hail. So the threat is low, but it's not impossible for a potential isolated damaging wind gust or isolated large hailstone to pop up. Now, what's going on throughout the entire U.S. just weather news-wise? Heavy to excessive rainfall over the southern Appalachians may bring areas of flooding on Tuesday. Hot to extremely hot temperatures are in place through Tuesday across much of the western U.S. and the northern New England regions. Tropical storm Erin is forecast to become a major hurricane by this weekend as it moves across the central Atlantic Ocean, and the East Coast needs to be watching. So that's pretty much all the news that we have there. And obviously we still do have air quality alerts going on over there for Minnesota going into Wisconsin, the UP, and Michigan, and then also over there in New York City going over into Boston and Connecticut. As I believe it's still from Canadian wildfire smoke. If I go ahead and check this out right now, it just says that it is unhealthy right now to be outside for long periods of time throughout those regions. So that's pretty much all that I have to say there. That's pretty much all I have to say for tonight. If you did enjoy the forecast tonight, make sure you go and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. We are at 565 subscribers right now, trying to get to 600. We are 35 away from that main goal, and we are 10 subscribers away from 575. For the top fans for tonight, Mr. Chris was at number 1, Miss Tolliver is at number 2, and that was at number 3. Congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans for tonight. I don't see anything else inside the chat to talk about. I'll be here for about another 5 minutes to see if I can see anything else. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Monday evening, and remember, before you leave, to go on and hit those 2 buttons.